Hey, good evening, everybody. Or not good evening, good morning. It is our pregame Fanatical Elfz show. Browns versus Steelers coming up at 1 o'clock in Pittsburgh. There's Steve Gill. I'm John Suchan. Thank you for tuning in to our show right now on YouTube, Facebook, the X. And if you want to listen to us later on audio, please do download us on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere that you can listen to a podcast. Steve, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. We're going to get a little rain today. It's going to get upper 50s. Tomorrow we're going to be in the mid 60s. And then it's going to get cold again.
Yes. But no snow for you down there.
No.
That's good. Some of us folks up here, good. We got snow up. I know, well, I think it's been melting up there in Cleveland, but talking to some of the other colleagues with the Fanatical Elfz, they're in the snow belt, so they got some good snow. I'm gonna drink a cup of my coffee, but we got a game to talk about. The Browns.
We do?
Yeah, the Browns already beat the Squealers once. Can they do it again? That's the talk of the town.
Let's hope so.
Steve drinking his Bloody Mary. I'm drinking my coffee.
Yeah, that shows you our lifestyle difference.
Well, I will be not drinking coffee later, but I'm finishing up a cup from this morning.
When my wife makes one of her famous Bloody Marys, I am always open to it.
Absolutely. It's a good way to get.
She makes Bloody Marys so well. When I was president of the Middle Tennessee Brownsbacker, the bar was like 2 miles down the road.
Yeah.
And the game before, Karen had invited a couple of the people on their way to the bar to come by, and she'd make a Bloody Mary.
Yeah. And
15 people showed up. I swear, 15 people showed up. Luckily, I had enough vodka, and she uses V8 juice because you got to get your veggies. And I swear, I had
you were the bar. I mean, that's really
we were the bar. I had to break out the to-go cups. Come on, people, we got to get there.
Oh, that's great. Well,
I know.
I'll be doing my vodka cranberry. That's my go-to. Later this afternoon. So
this is the only hard liquor I drink.
What is it? The Bloody Mary? Yeah,
that's the only hard liquor. You know, if I had the opportunity to drink maybe a shot of whiskey every once in a while,
right? How about bourbon? You like bourbon?
The trouble with me is I have expensive taste. Since I worked in liquor stores, I like Weller.
Okay.
My favorite is 107 Antique. It's 107 proof. It's got the nice burn. It's got the nice caramel flavor to it. I just love that stuff, but you can't find it because it's expensive.
Very expensive. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was on. Sorry, I pardon my. I'm on the X right now, and you know, with Elon Musk's X, they've just make everything so much more difficult these days. So we appreciate those of you who are watching us on the X, but
yes,
I'm currently trying to get back on here. Let's see here. Let's see. Well, I'll get to that here momentarily. I got this thing where it came up for changing my email, and I'm a little confused by that. But let's talk about the game. Browns coming off of a very high powered sort of Monday night offensive show where Jameis Winston threw for almost 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I talked a little bit about that in my article today I wrote for Fans First and Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders about Jameis Winston and about Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, 235 yards, 9 receptions, 1 touchdown, just really looked like the number 1 wide receiver. What are your expectations today with those two? And let's just start there.
Well, Alex Highsmith is back. So there is going to be pressure coming from both the left and the right on Jameis. So they're going to have to get the running game is just not going to be there until next year, until they improve the offensive line and Nick Chubb is healthy. You can use certain things. I don't want to see any end arounds. Kevin, are you listening? No end arounds, please. So let's just try and hope they can get some kind of running attack. If it's 3.2 yards a carry, I'll take that every day of the week against the Steelers. If they can do that, then Jameis can work the short passing game, the quick slants, which will set up the downfield bombs, which he did very well against Denver.
Yes.
I mean, even the one that Judy, he overthrew Judy. Judy was wide.
Oh, I know.
Open. I mean, and Denver's pass defense is along the lines of the Steelers' pass defense. So, matter of fact, I would say Patrick Surtain is better than Joey Porter Jr. any day of the week. He doesn't commit as many hand fouls, which is another thing. If they can get him in his head, because he does grab a lot. He grabs and pushes. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, if the refs, if the referees can actually see it, take their sunglasses off, maybe they can get getting into his head. But I fully expect him to be up against Jerry Jeudy. But Denver tried to put Surtain against Jeudy, and they had a lot of mismatches. So Jameis needs to get rid of the ball quickly. He needs to know where he's throwing it. I know he's a gunslinger, but if you can get any kind of running game, that'll help. Because if you're running the ball, he's not throwing the ball as much. And if he's not throwing the ball as much, he's not throwing turnovers. And Browns have to win the turnover battle.
Well, and last week that we did get a couple turnovers, but we lost the turnover battle, like you just mentioned, in a big way because he threw 2 pick sixes. Just little things like that. There were just so many moments. The Browns are starting to get a few more turnovers the last several games. We've talked about this throughout the season. It's not amounted to many wins. Obviously, this team is 3-9. You talked about the run game. Where do you see? I mean, how do we fix that in this game? I mean,
in this game, you got to get creative. And there's really.
What about these
straight up the middle ain't going to work. I mean,
these tight end set, like Stefanski used to go heavy with the tight ends, right? In the past and with his. So this team just not. I mean, we have the tight ends. I mean, are the offensive?
I'd love to see the heavy set.
Yeah,
let's put an offensive lineman in the backfield. I mean, it worked. It worked against Jacksonville. Their first victory. They did that their first offensive series. They went heavy. It worked last year.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. And against the Steelers, I don't know what the weather's going to be like. What, 50 and sunny?
Yeah, it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice.
It's going to be a nice day. Perfect day to run the ball. Let's just go heavy step and do it until they stop it.
I'm just afraid that maybe they'll try to get the run game started, but then I think they're going to revert back to this heavy pass game is what I'm foreseeing. But
it depends on the circumstances. If they can run the ball, and if a team blitzes a lot, you should be able to run the ball against them.
Yeah.
Because they're coming after the quarterback, and there are open lanes.
Yes.
So let's just see what he does.
Okay.
No end arounds, please.
Who's the kid that we picked up that has been doing those? Tony.
God. I'd love to see him returning punts today. I really, really would. He's got the mental and the speed and the athleticism to do that.
Yeah.
Let's get him returning punts.
Okay. This series some discussions have been around, Browns have not won in Pittsburgh since 2003. They haven't swept the team.
Tim Couch's best game.
Yeah. Hey, and what happened? Like in 99, they did beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh.
Yes, they did. Last second field goal.
That's what happened. Yeah, 16-15. And
Mike Vrabel committed a roughing the passer on Tim Couch,
really?
which stopped the clock and moved the ball forward.
Wait a second. Mike Vrabel played for the Squealers?
The Steelers. He was drafted by the Steelers.
Wow.
Out of Ohio State.
Well, that makes sense.
And yeah, because they love Ohio State players.
Yeah.
And they moved the ball in field goal range. Phil Dawson couldn't find his helmet. They had no timeouts. He ran on the field. They set it up and kicked it like as the clock expired.
I need to go back and find a highlight of that. That would be fun.
Oh, it was incredible.
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh. It's like somebody opened up
Phil we trust.
It opened up a door to a tunnel on the opposite side, and the wind blew the ball over the goalpost. It was fantastic.
Oh man, no!
They only won 2 games that year. In New Orleans, which I was at, and that game.
Right. That's what I remember about that first season, and I think a lot of Browns fans, what I recall is that we beat Pittsburgh. So that was, and now I will say this: it's very interesting because, not interesting. I think there's always this thing circling between Browns fans and Steeler fans because of this, like Steeler fans. There are a lot of Steeler fans, especially on social media, who try to portray that the Browns, this series is not important to them, like it is with Baltimore these days, because Baltimore was the old Browns and that rivalry is much more heated. And a lot of Squealer fans like to refer to us, like when we beat them, like this is our Super Bowl, and our mindset is that way. And so they kind of mock us and laugh at us. And so what's your take on all that? I kind of go back and forth. I get really where I don't think we're there at all anymore, like mentally as a team and as an organization. I still, I do find myself kind of seeping back into that aura of, well, there's the same old Browns, but we're not. But it does take some time. It's been, 25, 30 years we're talking about.
Well, since we won in Pittsburgh, I mean, we have been competitive in Cleveland. I mean, it's a thing of swings. I mean, in the early days, Pittsburgh was the worst team in the NFL.
Absolutely,
and
they
Steeler
sucked.
Steeler fans will never admit that. It's
they were the worst team in the NFL.
The team did not exist before the 70s. They were god awful. And then they hired.
Don't forget that, Squealer fans. You suck.
Chuck Noll, who played for the Cleveland Browns, and Paul Brown, and then they went on a roll. And they hired Bill Cowher, who played for the Cleveland Browns.
Absolutely. Yes.
So 2 of your most successful coaches got their start in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Suck on that.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then there's the swings. I mean, when Bernie comes along, he knew the rivalry. He grew up watching it.
Yes.
And then they went on a long, what was it, like 7 games in a row, and they broke a streak in Three Rivers with him quarterbacking, and he reminds Steeler fans of that every day, which I love on social media. He'll probably do it again today.
Yeah.
So, and then, you swing back and forth, and then you got the Ben Roethlisberger years when Butch Davis thought he had all the quarterbacks he needed and should have drafted Roethlisberger. Instead, he went with Jeff Fain, a center from Notre Dame. So,
I know.
It's just the swings. I mean, the Browns right now have a 2-game winning streak. It's good to know that Ben Roethlisberger's last playoff game was a loss to the Cleveland Browns.
He cried
on the sideline. Oh,
he's a cocky son of a gun. So I don't feel. I wonder what would have. I mean, what if? But if we had drafted him, Butch Davis, you
never know. It's the same with who was the quarterback of the Eagles?
Donovan
McNabb. Instead of Tim Couch or Akili Smith. Those were the top 3 quarterbacks back in the that draft, 99 draft.
Let's pause, Steve, for a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Hey, thanks for coming back to our Fanatical Browns pregame show here on the Fanatical Elfz Network, part of Fans First Sports Network. We appreciate you following along, being a fan with us. We're talking about the Browns versus Steelers. Your assessment, again, what do the Browns need to do in this game to get that win? The season, they're talking about playing spoilers. What's it going to take today?
On offense, keep Jameis Winston clean. On defense, pressure Russell Wilson. He throws the ball quick, but if you go back to that Thursday night game, they applied a lot of pressure both on the tackle side and then running stunts up the middle. They kept hitting him. As he was throwing the ball, he completed a lot of them, but as the game went on, you could tell that he was kind of So let's hope Myles Garrett has a big game. I think Davin Tomlinson, he applied a lot of pressure up the middle last game, so he needs to continue that. We're going to have a new defensive tackle in, the McGill guy, because Maurice Hurst was put on IR. Unfortunately, that's probably the last we're going to see of Maurice Hurst. So let's see what happens. But secondary is going to have to communicate. They have to. I don't know if Pickens is going to play. He was listed as questionable.
Right. Did you see that? I don't know if they've come out. Have they come? They probably come out.
I have not seen it yet this morning.
I'm guessing the next 5 to 10 minutes.
I guess he's afraid of Greg Newsome, so he's not going to
play. Greg Newsome. Yeah, that's going to be.
By the way, Greg Newsome had a really good game against Denver. It's Martin Emerson had a bad game.
Yeah, what do you think about Martin Emerson going forward? Because this is his third year or second year? Is this second?
This is his third year. He played great last year. I've heard that the reason they're having problems with the corners is they're not playing closer to the line of scrimmage. They're afraid to get beat. And Jim Schwartz has drilled into them. You can't give wide receivers that much cushion. And unfortunately, Mr. Emerson is the most guilty of that. I mean, Denzel Ward can make up the ground.
See, I don't understand that. If Schwartz is telling them don't do that, why are they?
Like I said, I mean, the miscommunication now spans over 2 different defensive coordinators.
Right.
So it's not the defensive coordinators; it's the players.
Yeah. So will there be a change? So will that be something that will be addressed in the draft?
Well, free agency comes first. With this front office. The draft is like a red shirt year unless you got a first round pick. Or a second round pick. They start a lot of second round picks. So
it's disappointing.
I can't see Greg Newsome staying with the team. They already drafted his replacement in Cameron Mitchell. So
do you see
and that's
Martin
what
Emerson
Barry does in the late rounds? He drafts replacements. Luke Whitworth,
is Emerson,
Juan Jones, Cedric Tillman.
Well, last year, and what really killed me personally, with Emerson, because I was really high on him. I thought he was going to be like a really lockdown.
He was last year.
Except,
he was the second best corner in the NFL.
In that moment in the playoff game against Houston, when he the guy caught it for the Texans. You remember that? It was like second, third quarter. He caught it, and then Emerson just sort of ran himself out of the play. Yeah. And it was, I was just flabbergasted when I saw that. I go back and I was like, what was he? I mean, just those kind of moments just suggest that he's not going to be the guy. So it's disappointing.
Well, I think that Texan playoff game was more inexperience at safety. I mean, CJ Stroud knows Ronnie Hickman like the back of his hand.
Well, that's a good point too. Yeah.
Every day. Yeah. So, and if you're playing certain types of coverages, you got to have safety help.
Yeah.
As we saw against the Saints, when Greg Newsome would just leave the safeties out on an island. I mean, Juan Thornhill and McLeod can't cover wide receivers. And where was Greg Newsome? I mean, he bit on a run play or bit on a play action and just leave the safeties alone.
Yeah.
He did better in Denver.
Like you said, right.
Yeah, but let's see what happens today. I'd be interested to see.
Well, if the road doesn't
Pickens
get any,
is going to play, because if he doesn't play, then I would expect the Steelers to go heavy passing to their running backs and their tight end like they did against Cincinnati. They threw a ton of balls to both Najee Harris and the guy I hate the most on the Steelers, Jalen Warren. and Fairmouth. They really used them well when the Bengals took away the wide receivers. And then when they started covering the running backs and tight ends, he started throwing to the wide receivers. So we got to slow that down. We got to get pressure on the tackles. Got to get into Russell Wilson's head.
Yeah. Justin Fields concerns me. I think they're going to try to bring him in a few times like they did the last time.
Only worked once Thursday night.
I just have a feeling they're going to use him more. I think that they see that the Browns have a hard time when they bring in a running quarterback. Like, well,
he had one 30-yard run.
Yeah, but it was a big run. I don't know.
And they did not score.
Yeah.
Because they got down on 4th and 1 and they gave it to Justin Fields and he lost a yard.
I thought they scored on that drive.
3 times they did 4th and short. He lost yardage.
Oh, okay. I thought that they scored on that drive.
No. Nope.
No, they did not.
Juan Thornhill ran him down and pushed him out.
Do you have a fire coming your way? I hear fire trucks.
Welcome to Nashville.
Yes. Okay. So the Browns, after this game, they have a home affair with the Kansas City Chiefs next Sunday in Cleveland. Following that, they go on the road again to the Bungles. So they've got a couple.
And they come home and host Miami.
Right?
Should be completely out of it by then.
And then Baltimore, we don't know how that'll look.
We don't know what day it is yet, but I have a feeling Baltimore will probably rest. They'll probably have their playoff position.
So Pittsburgh's in the driver's seat right now in the AFC North.
Yes.
Baltimore is a game back. Is that correct? Are they on their bye? They're on their bye this week. Baltimore.
They're on their bye this week. Late bye.
Yeah, I think they're not. Are they 9-4 or 8-5? Can't recall.
I think Baltimore is 9 and.
They've played one more game than us at this point because they're on their bye this week. But
yeah,
I'm seeing if they release the who's playing today and who's not. They haven't come across yet on Twitter. All right. Well,
Baltimore is 8-5.
They're 8-5.
2 games back.
Yeah, and so Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Right.
So if the Browns could beat Pittsburgh, that would put the Ravens 1 game back.
Yeah,
and really be motivated in their next game. Yeah.
Who does Pittsburgh have? I wonder next. Pittsburgh played, I think, the Chiefs already this season, and didn't they?
I know Baltimore still has to play them, don't they?
I think so. Well, it doesn't matter to us Browns fans. We're just going to go out there and get a win, beat the Squealers, and all will be well. Because it is our Super Bowl. Damn it! It is our Super Bowl. Okay, no.
No, it's not.
I know it's not. I will miss Jedrick.
The only Super Bowl I want is the real Super Bowl.
I'm hoping Jameis Winston continues to fire away, and hoping that he will not make the enormous pick 6 mistakes like he did last game.
Yes, we should get good Jameis this game.
You'd hope. I mean, the field.
Pittsburgh plays at Philly.
Oh, that's right. Next week,
Baltimore. Then hosts Kansas City.
Oh, they're
and then they end the season hosting Cincinnati.
That's a bear.
What a tough schedule.
I mean, Cincinnati can be out for blood. They can really, all 4. So yeah, I mean, the Steelers.
Well, after watching the Eagles in Baltimore last Sunday,
yeah,
the Eagles have hit their stride.
Was watching the fans' first group from Pittsburgh. They all had their predictions on this game. They all, of course, picked Pittsburgh to win. But interestingly, most of them, I know there's like 8 or 9 writers, they all gave their – but interesting, all the scores were tight. They were all in the 20s.
Oh, really?
Most of them all had them like 20, 26, 22 or 28, 21. So, I mean, they all had them kind of close. Which I think
psychologically we call that reverse psychology.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it'll be fun. I'm hoping for a good game. Like, we talked about this after the game last week. It wasn't like, and you mentioned it on your Dog Pound South show. You can catch him on Mondays. There's a plug for you, Steve. But you talked about, it was an exciting game. You want the Browns wanted to be in a game. They were in it. I know Tony Rizzo, 850. I liked listening to Tony, but he was, and he shares a good, his opinion is like it's still a loss for the Browns, and we're still 3-9.
I understand that.
Yeah,
but you got to admit, with 40 seconds left, you were sitting there thinking, okay,
absolutely.
They get the extra point. They get the onside kick.
I was doing the same thing
in the field goal range. I'm sitting there going, okay.
Right? No, Steve, I'm thinking the same way you were. I think most of the Browns nation, 35 seconds, score a touchdown there. You guys still can, everything you just mentioned. So,
the beginning of the season, if that was the situation, everybody would have turned the TV off. I mean, like, screw this.
Right? No, it really is. It's so true that at least Winston has given. Oh, they just came out with the list here. Bailey Zappi, Cedric Tillman, still not. Foreman, no. Thrash is on there. Kamara,
James Wood, and Tony are activated.
Yes. I'm interested to hear about the Steelers, Pickens. Not sure where we would see that, but well, we'll just find out come game time. Hey, thanks again. We will have a post-game show, rain or shine. I'll be here
real quick before we go.
Yes,
Browns fans, how happy are we that the Browns made a smart business decision and shut Mr. Wills down? And the reason they did it is they know he's going to go sign with somebody else and they'll get a compensatory pick. If they had cut him, they would have had dead cap of his salary. He has all guaranteed.
Now, why do they get the pick?
Well, and they could get a compensation pick. They have two coming to him in 2025, one for Flacco and one for Jordan Elliott. It's weighed by how many players you lose to free agency to how many new players that you gain in free agency. Like Shelby Harris and Maurice Hurst didn't count because they played for the Browns last year.
Oh, okay.
So they could get a comp pick.
Okay.
For Jedrick. So that's why they didn't cut him. They didn't want to carry the dead cap of his guaranteed fifth-year option or his guaranteed contract that he had this year. So also they're a little pissed at him. I'm hearing that a lot of people in the front office were going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but because he really didn't take his rehab serious, this is what they're going to do to him. They're going to sit his ass down for the rest of the season. And, that down not look good for him.
No,
he's going to sign with somebody.
He'll go down the Tampa Bay and play with Baker so they can start.
He'll make a lot less money because of this. And, my family knows two things: sarcasm and revenge. And this was the perfect front office revenge.
It is interesting. Yes. Well, we won't have to worry about that. Have a lot to look forward to. Hopefully the Browns step up, do a lot of things well today and limit their mistakes, and we'll go from there. We'll be back, like we said, after the game. Steve, you've got your show coming up when?
Tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I'll have that and my blog, dogpoundsouth.net.
Yep.
Which I always write day after the game.
Okay. And then we have the talk about the Chiefs and Taylor Swift next week. So
in Cleveland, will Taylor and Kelsey?
I've been thinking. I think she will.
Will somebody drop to the knee and propose during that game?
Ooh,
because I hear her parents are going to be there, and his parents are going to be at the game.
Are you serious?
I am very serious.
That's too funny. Well, I mean, it makes sense because I've been thinking of all season because they're from Cleveland. I expected that she would be in attendance just because, but now you're saying Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are going to get married, get engaged
possibly
next week. Holy cow! You got to stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned.
Until next time, Browns fans. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. See you guys.
We hate the Steelers. Oh.